All right, guys, today we are going to do a new series that we're going to be reviewing and reacting to a variety of content from things that I've worked in, that I've been involved with, and also things that I think are either really cool or that they totally suck. This is going to be my thesis feature film from college back in the day. I know it's been a long time, but it was a fun project to work on. And today we're going to share with you. It's Liver Todd, and it's about a 10-15 minute short film. We're going to walk through a little bit of the inside scoop of the whole process, and we're going to talk about the different scenes. Fun fact, the film was shot on Super 16 millimeter, and for those of you guys who are not familiar with shooting on film, it was a lot of fun. So let's go and check it out, and let's get going. All right, so today we're gonna talk about this short film that it was my final project in my undergrad program, and I was chosen to direct this short film, which was really cool because I had the opportunity to work with a superstar from Mexico, José José, and putting that aside, it was just a great experience to get to learn to work with well-known people. So it's a lot of pressure, and this film here, we had a set designer come and build a custom-made prison cell that will be fitting for the story. The story, it takes place in Cuba. So just based on that alone, I, as a director, had a very specific vision on the way I wanted to share and capture the story, because Cuba is one of those things that infrastructurally doesn't look anything like the United States. So for me, right off the bat, that was one of the things that it was very important to make sure that we were creating the right setting, the right environment when it came to telling the story in the most authentic way as possible. And yes, it took some financial investment. I went ahead and at the time, I was very young, but I saw the vision, so I went ahead and invested my own money and went ahead and built this custom-made set for a thesis project, which was about $1,800 at the time. With inflation, not sure exactly what does it calculate to, but point is, I had to bet on this project. So, and it was a lot of fun. The high contrast, the high contrast lighting was a choice to create a lot of depth, and as you can see, there's a lot of intrigue and mystery so far. Also, the camera work was it was a pivotal part of telling the story, because through the camera movement, or lack of in some cases, I wanted to make the viewer feel the uncertainty and claustrophobia of what these guys were going through. And the cinematography for this film, the choice was to keep the camera for the most part handheld, because you wanted to feel that a little bit of chaos and uncertainty. So we went ahead and made sure that a lot of the scenes were over the shoulder. And one of the fun parts of the project was, there was so much inner conflict with people disagreeing with my vision as a director, to the point where I took charge of the camera while directing. This was the most challenging scene to execute in the film. We went ahead and hired a professional Steadicam operator who was certified to shoot on film because we couldn't afford to gamble or take risk. At the time, there was no such thing as gimbals or Steadicams. So to have this walkthrough shot took a lot of coordination, different parts, and the purpose of this particular scene being one single take was to introduce our main character, José José. Rest in peace. He is the most important character in the film, so we wanted to introduce him in a way that would have the audience captivated before he even showed up on camera. And yeah, to film these scenes was somewhat challenging because of the time restraints with him. And we usually would get the takes done, the scenes, capture in 1 or 2 takes, unless there was some technical hiccup. The Steadicam sequence, we did it in about 4 takes, and another $500-600 that it took to rent and hire the operator. So, we started feeling the financial restraints of the film versus the creativity. But these scenes with José José were golden, especially because him being such a celebrity and me being so young and inexperienced director at the time, it really allowed me to work well under pressure while facing many obstacles, from the production side to the creative. And I did get a lot of support from my faculty. The faculty staff were actually very supportive and understanding of the vision at the time. So that was one of those things that it helped a lot to just get going. And here we use a transition to go from a flashback to the present time, with that match cut, from the little kid to back to the prison cell. And I influenced by a variety of directors, and people can notice that in certain scenes based on the camera work or the acting. This is one of my favorite scenes.
Pero ¿cómo sabemos eso?
I gotta give credit to the writer. It was a great script. It's a great script, even though we have creative differences on the vision of how to tell the story. I still want to give credit to Celine. The story's really good, and here we have a scene where
El hombre que movía la calle para la casa para estar tiempo con su familia, no el hombre que pasa todo su tiempo planeando contra el gobierno y que además pone en peligro a su esposa y a su hija. Eso es lo que yo quiero. ¿Tú me puedes dar eso de banco?
I did get the opportunity to work with a lot of talented actors in this film. I got to be honest with you, including this incredible voiceover actress. She's great, Valeria, and we had to do some ADR for some of these scenes, and she was able to nail them flawlessly, without much effort. She's a natural at ADR, and it was a great learning project. I had the opportunity to work with different levels of talent, and for the most part, these scenes that you see here in the prison cell, we originally, the DP wanted to have more lighting in the scene, and I disagreed with the DP's vision because I thought in Cuba it's got to be a little bit more grimy, a little more mystery. So we went ahead and set up the lights, and they kind of stayed the same way for the most part of the time we were filming in that setup.
Yo no soy tu papá, ¿ok? Yo no puedo olvidar mi responsabilidad simplemente porque no estoy en acuerdo contigo. Tengo mis sueños. ¡Álvaro!
Also, there was a choice to use a lot of 50mm shots, the 50mm lens to get a lot of the medium shots in the movie. There's not a lot of wide shots because, for one, we wanted to keep the location somewhat mysterious, mainly because we shot everything in Miami, and it's kind of hard to make it authentic Cuban environment when we're in the United States, granted. That's the only thing that I wish we would have had, something to change. It was that birthday scene because just infrastructurally it's not accurate. But for the most part, I love the tightness of the shots because it's fitting with the story, and it really, at the time, it made me feel like people are gonna feel uncomfortable watching this because it's tight, it's longer scenes, there's not a lot of formulaic standard storytelling where you get your wide shot, your medium, your insert, your close-up. There's a lot of long takes. There's some choreographed sequences in there. Additionally, the costumes, for example, the guards, we had to go ahead and do some research and find uniforms that were fitting of the time of the Cuban Revolution era. So we went ahead and researched stuff like that, also the weapons of the time, so we could make sure it was as accurate as possible. Right here, when he slides down, that was great. Great performance, great acting, the pacing. That was something that it was very crucial for me, although we had to keep in track. We had to keep in mind the time. That's the one thing when we shoot on film, guys. You have to be like a sniper, very selective with the choice of the scenes, especially because you have to be very selective. You get, I don't know, 400 or 500 feet of film, and that's all you get. So I love the twist in the story, and here we see how the big reveal happens. Also, one thing you guys notice, the movie has close to no music or sound. It relies more on sound design and the lighting. The lighting was everything for this film to create that otherly world place that we needed to transport the audience. Here's the last scene of the film where we have José José in the story. His age. This is many years later in the future. We had a makeup artist who came in and made him look a lot older at the time than what he was. This was one of those things where once the makeup is applied, you get a limited amount of time to get it executed, and we probably did, I don't know, 4 or 5 takes max. And we got to reverse angles, make sure that the placement, the blocking was exact, so when the door will close, the lighting from his face will go, there's my name, it's the director, again, it was a great project. It was a surreal experience, guys, to get a standing ovation right after the film was done. 800 people just stood up and started cheering, and really, it was really something. After that, I did work on other feature films, but we're gonna see if we can get a copy of them, and we'll get to review them. In the meantime, make sure you hit like, follow, subscribe, and we're gonna be checking out different content, not just stuff that I worked on. We're also gonna do current stuff like commercials, music videos, reaction videos of other reaction videos. We're gonna get into this whole reaction inception world. So you guys, thank you guys so much for checking it out. This was my first director role. Was a great experience, and I'm gonna put the link on the video so you guys can go check it out and let me know in the comments what you guys think.